good. Welcome to NiCHE Conversations. I am
Hello,
Jessica
hello.
DeWitt, one of the editors here at the network in Canadian History and Environment. And today I am joined by Kenzie Kosowan. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a fourth year education student at the University of Saskatchewan. I'm working currently on the Assembling a City project, which I'll be talking more about today. I've been
Mm-hmm.
with them for about a year now, and yeah, I mostly just do transcribing. It's my big gig.
Yeah. And you've written about that too for us. So
I have.
um, you've written two posts, I published two posts with us so far. We're going to be talking about both, but I was going to focus more on your second one, which is Filth, Squalid Misery, and Seemingly Drunken Debauchery, Energy Relief in Toronto's House of Industry Records. So this is part of the Assembling a City project, which is led by our director, Andrew Watson. Yeah, so I guess starting off, like, what is this project and what has your role been?
So the project is kind of a behemoth. It's a lot of things. I usually, in layman's terms, I just tell people that it's the study of movement of resources through Toronto through
Mm.
about 1830 to 1930. But the fancy academic answer is that we're trying to construct an urban metabolism of Toronto. So that's basically studying the city as if it were a living organism.
Yeah.
So mainly what we're worried about are like what kind of resources did this organism need to live? How did it grow? Where did these resources end up? Things
Mm-hmm.
like that. I'd recommend for anyone who's interested in the project, if you want to get like a better grasp of what we're exactly studying, to read Dr. Andrew Watson's blog post, which is Feeding, Fueling, and Building the Foundations of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And then our colleagues, Dr. Joshua McFadgen and Hannah Wilness, also helped Dr. Watson write a paper on downtown Toronto's emergent properties. So I'd recommend checking those out too. But overall, I'd say we're basically just trying to assemble a database full of all the different resources that we're moving through Toronto, to put it simply.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a massive task.
Yes,
And
it's a
and
lot.
we need a lot of hands on deck, and like your role is so critical in this kind of project, like gathering these resources, taking what information there is in them and making it usable. And yeah, Andrew and I, when I was a grad student, he was a postdoc, we both worked on the um, social ecological histories of farm systems. Oh gosh, I forget the title of it, but this is kind of coming out of that socio-ecological metabolism, which is a very big concept that we don't have time to
For
grasp
sure.
today. I worked on an entire project for several years and I still don't know if I grasp it, but um, that's another topic for another day. Yeah, so in the second blog post, you're looking really specifically at the House of Industry minute books, which looks like a fantastic source. So I was wondering if you could like talk about what the source is and what information it contains.
Yeah, it's a super interesting source. I've been like so excited to work with this. It's been so
Yeah.
interesting. But I guess to understand the source, you need to know what the House of Industry it was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a poor relief house in Toronto from about, I think, 1837 to 1947. And they were responsible for housing, feeding, and providing what they called outdoor relief to Toronto's poor
Yeah.
population. So they offered three types of relief. There was like elderly or infirm care, which was people who would just come stay in the house who couldn't take care of themselves, and the house would take care
Mm-hmm.
of them. They had a casual ward, which was for the unhoused population to come in. They could get warm meals, have a nice warm bed to sleep in. And then they also had outdoor relief, which is what we're focusing on for this project. So outdoor relief basically just looked like people would come and apply to the house if they were struggling and they needed some extra support. And
Mm-hmm.
then their case would be like audited, I guess, and they would determine, usually they'd give things like bread or groceries, coal, things like that, just something to like help people get along. So the minute books are the recorded cases of this.
Mm-hmm.
So there are applications of people trying to get into the house to stay, and then the ones that we're focusing on, which are the casual relief applications. So a lot of these were written by the house's visitors who would go to the applicants' houses and like determine whether or not they were worthy of relief.
Yeah.
And yeah, So, like a typical entry, they're pretty inconsistent, but like some of the things that we can get from those are the person's religion, age, number of children, marital status, where they're from. There was a lot of Irish immigrants. Those are
Hmm.
super prominent in these ledgers. And then even things like whether or not the person was sober or like deemed to be like industrious or hardworking. And then their reason for applying, what kind of relief they could get. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of what's um,
Hmm.
very apparent and like straightforward in the ledgers. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things you can read between the lines in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So like so many sources that deal with, working class or poor people, it's a top down resource, right? We're not, it's like,
Yes,
people looking and recording them and observing them and making, you know, both like factual, like, you know, notes about them, but also, reading into like what they think about these people, right?
for sure.
Um, and I really loved how you opened your post with a story that invites readers to like put themselves in the shoes of someone seeking poor relief in 19th century Toronto, which I think is a really powerful way to like flip this source on its head. And so I was wondering from this what you think are the story opportunities hidden in this archive, and do you think that historical empathy, which is what I think you're gaining from that story, is a useful method for historians?
I love this question. I think there's so many people view history as like this objective, like scientific kind of thing with like
Mm-hmm.
hard facts. And it's so much more valuable when you can kind of carry that empathy in there too. Like to me, it just makes it so much more engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But I guess storytelling opportunities, like you said, it's like the top down kind of idea. So a lot of the visitors were like super privileged, very like not working class, never worked kind of deal, super
Mm-hmm.
prominent families in Toronto. So you see in their writings like how they would have viewed the poor, and you kind of get to understand some of like the fears that were prominent at the time, I guess. Like there's this huge fear of pauperism, which is like basically freeloaders or people who are just mooching off of the welfare system.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of see how that's fueled by like religious ideology at the time. And yeah, it's interesting to see, I guess, to empathize with the bad guy almost sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and then I guess with that too, I don't know, you kind of get an idea of how difficult it was. Like these visitors are, yes, logging their own opinions and things and like what they're seeing, but they're also logging these people's stories. Like sometimes you see applicant went to this place for relief and this place and they get relief from here. So you see like how tiring and exhausting that would be to like have to wrestle with all of these different institutions just to get by.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's also like some of the visitors were very comfortable being critical of the applicants, I guess. So it's really interesting to see like all of the shame that would have been tied to applying to one of these
Yeah.
institutions. But yeah, I guess all of that I would say is like my main driving force for like being interested in this project. So like to me,
Mm-hmm.
empathy is curiosity and it drives why I want to be involved in this. And I would
Mm-hmm.
hope that that extends to other people too. Um, I think empathy is also super important for like if we can have empathy with those in the past isn't just the past. It's like history is this giant web and it extends forward and backwards and it's
Mm-hmm.
going everywhere. So
Yeah.
having empathy for those in the past, I feel like is a really, really useful tool for not only driving us to understand what's going on today, but
Mm-hmm.
also helping us have empathy for what's going on today. Because a lot of the issues that come up in these ledgers are still really prominent right now. Like there's this pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that very
Mm-hmm.
much exists today. And I think that people might have an easier time empathizing with that and engaging with those like bigger structural issues if there's like that perceived degree of separation, I guess, if that makes
Yes.
sense. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
so far in the past, I can empathize with that maybe a little bit easier than something that's happening in my backyard today.
Hmm. I love that. Empathy is curiosity. I love that.
For sure.
I'm just like, that's simmering in the back of my mind now. I love that, Kenzie. Um, and yeah, I agree that like there's a level of separation but like, yeah, like in Saskatoon right now, we know that there's massive upheaval. We have a skyrocketing unhoused population. We have issues around harm reduction, et cetera, right now. It's a crisis, like in our city, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and you can see some of the same attitudes being proliferated over 100, nearly 150 years later. We're still having some of the same, we're still doing the same thing. So
Yep.
it's a bit maddening in that way, but also I think it helps us understand like how these systems just continue to proliferate and how we can at some point can we attempt to figure out how to end it. I don't know. Anyways,
Yes.
it's just
Plus,
yeah, but I really appreciated just this like glimpse that you gave into this source and just yeah, thinking about like we can think about this child, hypothetical child, and be like, oh, poor child. But that's it's still happening, right? And if you can think about that and be like, oh, why wouldn't they help these people that were, you know, suffering and in this poor housing, etc. 150 years ago, well, like we need to be. It's the same reasons that we aren't helping people today, right? Like we're just proliferating these things. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going around in circles, but
no, it's definitely it's kind of disheartening, but it also almost kind of it helps a little bit to understand the roots of why people are like the
mhm.
unhoused population specifically is treated the way that they are today.
Yeah.
I think it's I don't know, it almost brings comfort to know that these are like patterns that have been going on for so long. It's like this ingrained way of thinking rather than people are just being evil. Like there is like
Mhm.
a fear factor behind it, and I
Mhm.
think it helps to understand that.
Yeah, and it's not like we have such a short memory as like collective memories. I would say are very short, at least in like this Western style of like living that we live in, and yeah, it I think we all have a responsibility, in my opinion, to understand these histories, and that's why history is so important, right? Like as you said,
Exactly.
it's all connected. Um, I love like disrupting this idea of I can't talk today, linear history. um, and thinking, like the past is still present today, right? We're
Absolutely.
still very much living in the past in many ways. And we have like, we owe it to those that came before us to keep trying to do better. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you. Are you going to continue working on this? Or are you kind of like graduating?
I still have another year left for sure on the
Mm-hmm.
project. Hopefully longer, but we'll see.
Cool. Well,
I'm
that's
actually still
awesome.
working on these ledgers specifically, so I still get to get all the cool stories that I've been getting to see. It's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
opportunity.
Cool. And you're doing education? Are you doing like a specific type of education you want to get into, or?
I'm currently in like the secondary stream. Like the dream was originally to teach high school English, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Dr. Watson wants me to do a history degree and kind of thinking about another ed degree.
Yeah. We
The
like to,
opportunities are endless.
as lifers, like to pull you in for life as well. So,
And I'm not
well,
fighting back. I'd love
yeah.
to
Yeah.
be a lifelong student.
Yeah. I was a student. Well, yeah. My, to the end of like 14 and a half years from like beginning of undergrad to the end of my doctorate. So,
It's the
you
dream.
um, well, either way, if you decide to be a teacher, like bringing this level of like knowledge and understanding of history is so critical as well. Like, I think a lot of people are not introduced to like actual historical thinking, maybe ever, but
Yeah.
not in high school, right? Like we're thinking about history as like these facts and stuff. And that's not really what history is. So,
Oh.
um, good history, I should say. Anyways, thank you for joining me today, Kenzie. It was so nice to virtually meet you. And yeah, maybe we'll meet each other in person at some point as we navigate the city. And yeah, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care,
Catch you
Kenzie.
later. Bye bye.
Bye.